Hello world, I'm Maya Sundermeyer and I would like to welcome you to the latest episode of my blog series. So far I have been able to share my own experiences with you guys on what it's like for me to live with Asperger's syndrome. A second thing that I like to do is give my 2 cents on what's going on with autism and the media. A third area entails providing tips and advice to individuals on the spectrum and to their friends and their families and their peers and their mentors. And finally, I like to cover topics that I'm passionate about that are non-autism related. Now, what I would like to do first is mention 2 things. Number 1, this is Autism Awareness Month 2016, and it means that I will be creating new blogs and posting them straight away to YouTube, so please be sure to check those out. And I'd also like to recommend that you check out this video known as Wings for Autism. And what the organization is doing is partnering up with various airlines across the nation, in addition to opening its doors at specific airports. And what these airports are doing are offering special days where individuals on the spectrum and their families are being allowed to see what the experience is in boarding an aircraft and going through all the procedures before that, because the experience has often been pretty scary. Now, what I would like to do is mention that I had an opportunity to take advantage of the Wings for Autism right here in Atlanta at Hartsfield Jackson International Airport today. And I wanted to talk about some of the things that they had us do, because I have a few good 2 cents on those, as well as some tips and advice for you that are family members of an individual on the autism spectrum. And I'd also like to speak to the airline industry as well. Now, I basically had to get a boarding pass, and I also had to wear a special shirt. And like any other occasion where I had to take out my ID and my boarding pass and give my luggage to the metal detectors and the security guards, I had to walk through and make sure that I didn't go off and that there weren't any liquids in my purse, which is something that I'm quite accustomed to. A second thing that they had us do was sit in front of the gate, and they had a gate agent or a customer service agent call us and mention which flight that we will be boarding. And they had us get inside the airplane, and we also had to sit down and fasten our seatbelts and put our electronic devices into airplane mode. Now, among a few other things, I saw some things that they did not do. So first and foremost, they did not give us special boarding passes with specific rows on them, and they did not call those rows by their numbers, which is typically a normal solution when you board an airplane. And I think that's so critical, because you're going to have kids traveling and boarding airplanes, and they're going to want to get on the airplane right away. Well, guess what? They're not going to get on that plane right away because their name wasn't called unless they had special boarding privileges first. And I think that could be a really, really good option in the future. But as I really think, and I've been taught, it's really critical for individuals on the spectrum to learn how to take turns and wait their turn. And that's something that I was taught as a child, and that's something that my favorite hero, Dr. Grandin, was taught. And I happen to agree with it. So that's an area that we could look at. And another thing that I'd like to mention is that when we got on the plane, they did not go through any of the emergency procedures, such as learning how to put a mask on. They also did not really tell us to fasten our seatbelts and keep our chairs in an upright position and our tray tables put away. what they did was they just had to sit on the plane for a while, and we just listened to the airline pilot give some tips and advice. And they should have been making the experience as realistic as possible so that the individuals on the spectrum would become familiar with it. And I think, again, they should have been learning how to put their life vests on, and they should have been learning how to put the mask on, or they should have been leading them and guiding them to emergency exits. And I think that's really critical. Another thing that they could be doing at these airports is teaching them that things don't always run so smoothly when you're at the airport, and especially when you have delays or cancellations in flights. And sometimes when those things happen, the individual's routine can get interrupted, and that's when you have the meltdowns and the frustrations. Now, another big thing that I noticed is there was a family right in front of me that had a son who was having a really hard time sitting in his seat, and he did not want to get on, or he did not want to leave. He wanted to leave because he didn't understand the situation, and he thought that he could just get off and get some fast food. Well, guess what? Unfortunately, when you fly on a plane like that, you can't get off the plane and go grab McDonald's. Once you're in flight, that's it. Now, what you can do as parents for the individuals who like McDonald's or Burger King or Chick-fil-A or any other well-known restaurants of their favorites, you could probably grab them a bunch of cheeseburgers before the flight. And I'd also recommend that if you're going to fly with them, the first thing I would like to recommend to you would be taking a shorter flight where they could enjoy those McDonald's cheeseburgers. Now, if you have any questions or comments about what I've just talked about, please be sure to Until next time, I'm Maya Sundermeyer.